We've all heard it. When you aren't feeling the best, go to the gym and work out. While we've all heard it. When you feel mentally down or you feel like you're struggling spiritually, just go to the gym and work out, clear your mind. It's something that may work for some people, it may not work for others. But ultimately, when it comes to your mental health, you should address that separately from your physical fitness. That's why I wanted to speak with Devin Jourdun today. Devin is a fitness trainer here in Atlanta, Georgia, but he's also an advocate for mental health. After dealing with his own bouts with mental health issues, Devin decided to not only address those issues separately, and while dealing with his own bouts of mental health issues, Devin decided that he was going to address his mental health outside of his physical fitness. He then determined on combining the two and making his fitness routine not only physical, but mental and spiritual as well. Devin took that and put it into his. While dealing with his own bouts of mental health issues, Devin decided that he was not only going to work out physically, but he was going to address those mental issues separately. He then realized how it was successful for him and determined that he was going to put that into his routine with training other people and other clients to help them get an overall healthy package in life. So I wanted to sit with Devin and talk to him about that, talk to him about some of the issues that he went through, as well as how he's now incorporating all of this into his fitness routines for his clients. We're going to talk about some of his favorite routines, some of the challenges that he sees with clients, and some of the things that we all can do to make sure that we're living a healthier, balanced lifestyle. So as always, sit back, relax. Welcome to Swap Sessions with Devin Jourdun. All right, so before we jump into the interview, you know we got to get popping with a lot of the business stuff. So in the meantime, while we're getting that situated, make sure you guys are subscribing to the magazine. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Turn your notifications on so that you can see when we post new videos, new content. Share with your friends, your circle, your family, co-workers. I don't care who you share it with. Just share the video. Share other videos, watch other videos, and leave comments, man. Let us know what you guys think about the interview, about other interviews, what kind of direction you want us to go into. If you are enjoying what you're watching thus far, all those things are important because we want to make sure that we're giving you the content that you're looking for. The magazine does have a mobile application. Check that out on both Android and Apple platforms. Check out our podcast on all streaming networks under Swap Sessions. You'll be able to find it there. And we will definitely make sure that we continue rocking with you guys with a lot of content, a lot of dope interviews. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming up. So, all that said, let's get to it. Okay. Got you inspired with fitness? Like, how did it start?
Yeah, so my journey kind of begins actually with mental health. So I found myself in a very, very dark place. Suffered from depression, but at that time I didn't really give it a name. I didn't really understand that Black people, more specifically Black men, could be diagnosed with such a thing. There's this large stigma, as I'm pretty sure you know, within the Black community, that mental illness and mental health isn't something that is our reality. That's kind of like a white thing. You know, we don't really get that. You feel like you're depressed, sit down, take a nap, you know, drink you some ginger ale, go to church, pray it away, and you'll be fine. Which obviously is not the correct way to handle such an issue. So yeah, I just found myself in a very, very dark place. And I kind of had a conversation with myself just about needing some type of like outlet, because I really felt like I was alone. And that's probably the scariest feeling that I've ever had in my 27 years of living. So I, reached out to a therapist, and luckily I surround myself with people who are pretty in tune with their emotions and their reality. So it wasn't such a taboo thing for me to have conversations with some of my peers. And they, advised me, hey, go seek some type of help, because you can speak to us about it, but we can't really, assist you the way that you need to properly be assisted. So I went, spoke to actually a psychologist, and they, diagnosed me with depression and anxiety. They told me I was clinically depressed. And at first we began these rounds of medication, and I really didn't like the way that it made me feel. I kind of wanted to feel something, and they made me feel nothing at all. I was completely like a robot. No type of like sense of feeling whatsoever, or in tune with my emotions. So then I began to do my own research. And I found that exercise was used in a lot of different holistic practices when it came to, battling such things as like anxiety, depression, things that, we would probably say, oh, it's a choice. But the way that the brain processes information and can handle certain things, and I always try to compare it to, if you tell somebody to look at the sky, life is based on perspective. So if you look at the sky and I say, well, describe what you see, you're going to tell me, oh, the sky is blue. Okay. And there are clouds, and the clouds are white. If I were to look at it, I say, well, the sky, has undertones of yellow in it, and there's hints of little white. Doesn't mean that your perspective is wrong. It just means that when I look at it, I see and feel something different. So when it came to understanding that, hey, this is something that you're dealing with, it's not going to consume you. It's just, a part of your life. And now you have to figure out how you're going to move forward with dealing with, this illness, so to speak. So I got off the medication, and I began working out and training. And I found that I was a lot happier post-workout than I was, prior to getting to the gym. And at that time, for whatever reason, I didn't really see the correlation connected. And then doing more research, I found, okay, your body releases endorphins when you're exercising. And for the common case of, anxiety, it can help alleviate that. But obviously, if you're experiencing, some severe cases of that, then you would need to seek, some type of like medical assistance to help with that. But that's pretty much how my journey began, just from me having like a personal battle. And I found assistance and relief there. And then I just began to take my story and speak out about it, because I didn't really see there were a lot of Black men who were speaking out about, mental illness, or at least a lot of Black men that I felt like I could identify with.
Right. I mean, which I applaud flat out. Like, one, even just taking the step of going to get help.
Yeah.
Just to kind of find out what's going on. Because most times we self-diagnose and just be like, oh, it's just stress, I'm just tired, whatever, what have you. And in the long run, just pushes us into a darker place. I'm sorry, I got aligners in. I'm trying to get used to this whole thing.
Oh, I understand.
So it's like we get used to buffering for ourselves and allowing ourselves to go deeper, and then just continually saying like there's nothing wrong. Yeah. And then you find the outlet that works. It's almost like new breath. And working out is used in so many different ways. Like, some people use it to feel better. Some people use it to, again, just channel frustration and anger or whatever. But ultimately, no one says they feel worse mentally leaving the gym.
Absolutely.
I've never heard it.
Absolutely. It's like you're the two places where people are usually the most happiest is going to be the gym and when they're in the mall spending some money. You never see anybody crying or sad in the mall or in the gym.
I don't like being in the mall spending money. I'm like, do I really need this? Because this is not looking nice. I hate spending money in the mall. It pisses me off.
Really?
So I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate shopping. Like, I love shopping. I hate spending my money while shopping.
Okay.
So
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I enjoy the fact that I bought whatever I bought. I just don't like the fact that I spent money on buying
Your
it.
money doing it.
Right. I don't. Yeah.
No, that definitely makes sense. But to your point of this epiphany that, you know, most of us, you know, have when it comes to like mental health, I think that we have to begin. And what's so crazy, I was having a conversation with one of my clients either yesterday or the day prior, and I was saying we have to get to a place where we're having these uncomfortable conversations. And for a lot of us, the reason why it's such a taboo thing to talk about is because of the way that we were raised, and we are adapting our grandparents and their parents' ways when we're living in a completely different time. You know, it's okay for a little Black boy to express his emotions. That does not make him less than, because then that little Black boy grows up to be a Black man who is not able to vocalize when he is experiencing any type of like pain, any type of discomfort, anything. But, you know, when we look at the news, it's rage, anger, you know, destruction, all of these things. But what got him to that place? You know, it didn't just happen. So we have to begin to have these uncomfortable conversations and understand that, you know, emotions, feelings, those things are real, and we're not robots. You know, we don't, you know, operate off of some type of like coding. You know, we're human beings. And if we begin to open the door for those type of conversations, I think that in the future it'll make these conversations about mental health a little bit easier, a little bit less uncomfortable, because even still, you know, with some of my peers, asking them like, yo man, like, how are you? I can tell that they're not used to that. You know, they're not used to someone genuinely wanting to know, are you okay? Do you need anything? You know, are you mentally like sound? We're so quick to give, I'm good, but are you really good? Like, are you fine, or are you just saying that to get past the uncomfortability of having to admit that things are not okay in your life?
Yeah.
So we have to start there. And then once we do that, I think it'll make these conversations, like I said, a little bit easier. And then we can begin to actually heal.
Right. And it's important because even with a lot of health issues, like you get to like obesity and like high blood pressure and sometimes even cancers, things like that. A lot of that is back attributed to your mental health.
Absolutely.
And to alleviate that, and again, I know people who literally you change diet, work out, and there is no high blood pressure, there's no diabetes, like things like heart disease start falling back, cholesterol drops. Like just exercising and being aware mentally of your situation can change your physical attributes as well. Absolutely.
We've placed these imaginary barriers on ourselves. Like we don't really exercise for fun. You know, if a little Black boy or a little Black girl is, hey, I want to go jog around the neighborhood, we're gonna look at them like they're crazy. Why you want to jog? And we'll be so quick to be like, sit your tail down on that couch, watch you some TV, or go upstairs and, you know, leave me alone. We're so quick to shoo that away. It's as if exercise, fitness, physical activity is looked at as being secondary. But we understand that we got to eat. We understand we have to drink water. Those things are not secondary. They're priority. Exercise is the same exact thing. It should be coupled in the same breath, in the same conversations as those two other variables. But it's not like that in our community for whatever reason.
Right.
But when it comes to physical sports, we in there. We gonna train. We gonna support little DJ on the little league team. We gonna support little Cheyenne on the track team. We're gonna support that and do whatever we got to do so that they can make it out.
Right.
So
right.
That's another thing. It's like we don't look at exercise as being a priority. The only time we're doing it is to either it's for vanity purposes, or it is to, you know, build our body for a sport, or worst case scenario, it's then the latter when we are older in age or we've been diagnosed with something, or, you know, it's an extreme case. And then at that point, it's the conversation of life or death. When this all could have been changed if it would have started with Big Mama, right, not saying sit your tail down and watch TV because DJ or Cheyenne wanted to go and just jog.
Right. How do you skip that? When you go and say, I've done this for myself, and this is what has worked for me, I want to share that with someone else. Mm-hmm. Was it an easy transition for you to go into training?
I think no. So honestly, in any career path that I've held in my life, I've always been a fixer. I've always came into situations and made things better. So I think from that aspect, it made it a little bit easier. Now, I will say from the mental and emotional aspect, it made it very, very difficult because I am someone who suffers from, you know, mental illness. I feel everything, and I'm an empath. So having those conversations with someone who is saying, hey, I was recently, you know, diagnosed with high blood pressure, hypertension. I have diabetes. I'm 300 and some odd pounds, but I want to change. Okay. In my assessment with that individual, there are key questions that I ask just to see mentally, are they prepared for that change? Because it's not as easy as you exercise, you change your diet, you do cardio, you drink water. It's a complete internal and mental battle that this person has to have within themselves, because the changes that they're going to go through are not always going to be quick. They're not about 98% of the time. You have to then bet on yourself. And for most people, they want instant gratification. They want to see things happen right away. If it does not happen, they then quit. Right. And in a couple months, year or two later, they then revisit it. And it will continue to be the same vicious cycle over and over again. So for me, I had to then create certain dialogue so that I would know, well, what version of Devin are you going to get? Because there would be many of days that I would leave from the gym, from prospective clients, feeling mentally drained, because I understand the importance of exercise. Because when I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at you as just a person. I'm looking at you, you're my mama, you're my aunt, you're my grandmother, my brother, my cousin. That's who you are. And it's so important for me to share anything that I can to allow you to better your life, because clearly you're sitting across from me, so you want it, you understand the importance of it, but at what level are you willing to commit? So that made it complete. And honestly, I recently started doing that probably within the last 1.5 to 2 years. Because boy, when I tell you, like I've cried with people walking away from me because I'm like, damn, like I have the key right here, and you are giving me every excuse in the book as to why you haven't even failed yet, but you don't even want to try. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that to me, it registered as you don't feel worthy. You're worthy of that car that you driving, the clothes that's on your back, the trips that you taking, the pictures you posting on Instagram. You're worthy of all of that. because you're committing to it. You make time for all those things. I'm simply saying, hey, commit to 3 times a week, 30, 45 minutes. You know, if we're looking at it from a financial standpoint, you're just reallocating from that area of life that you don't really need. It's not making you better. And you're putting it into something that is actually going to benefit you, because the things that you told me, you have hypertension, you have diabetes, you're struggling to, you know, have energy, you are always out of breath. The doctor is saying, hey, you need to get this together, otherwise you're going to be placed on medications. And I think statistically, people who even with insurance are spending about, I believe it's like an additional like $5,000 a year on medication. But you don't argue with the pharmacist or the doctor when they place you on it. You just go and pay for it. Right. But with me, for my services, you have to wrap your brain around paying for somebody to come in to get you off of what you said you wanted. So in short, I had to have that conversation with myself, because it was very taxing on me, especially with everything that I'm already dealing with. So that was the difficult part about it all.
That's me. It's hard to not get invested in other people's lives. I watch like my 600-pound life, and I get invested in them in 30 minutes. And I'm like, bro, you can do this. Like,
right,
30 pounds to your next weigh-in, like, make it happen. Why are you eating this cheeseburger? Why are you eating 7 cheeseburgers? So it's like you invest yourself in people because you want to see better.
Yeah.
And you know what's possible, but it's like, I need you to see it for yourself and push to get there.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that's where coaching becomes important, because a lot of people don't have support systems around them when it comes time to making life changes, because, you know, quote unquote hot girl summer is literally that's a workout for 3 months. Like, that's not a lifestyle change. You're doing this literally for the summer, and throughout the summer you're going to be eating, drinking, partying, whatever, and come fall you're like, let me put on this winter weight so I can be comfortable and fluffy, and then come March again you're like, I need to get it together for this summer. And it's like we go through the cycle process, and you do it year after year after year, and you're not living a healthy life. You're just toning down enough to put on a bathing suit or your swimsuit, whatever, and then once summer's over, it's like, we're good. Cover back up again.
Reverting back to old habits.
Yeah. So I think, again, it's important to have somebody that's there with you to push you through the process and guide you and kind of keep you on track. Because like you said, it's not overnight. It's a process. You have to deal with it. You're going to plateau at some point. So like, what do you do once you plateau?
Yeah. Everybody needs a coach, whether it's fitness related, mental, spiritual, you know, everybody needs somebody that can give them some sort of direction or guidance. It's just unfortunate that when it comes to the physical, we don't place much value on that. But you're sick, you go to the doctor says, oh, okay, what's wrong with you? You tell them your ailments, they prescribe things to you or give you suggestions on ways that you can better that. You leave, you're good. Right. Maybe have another follow-up or something like that. But when it comes to the fitness side, and I talk to these people, I'm like, listen, we're in a gym right now, okay? Why do you feel as though it is as easy as getting this gym membership and boom, that's it? If that was the case, when I walk you down this aisle and you see all these people that are in this gym, everybody's body should be like, dang, I like that body. I like that body. It's not like that. And these people come to the gym, they're committing to 5 to 6 days a week, day in and day out. I'm seeing the same bodies and nothing is changing because they do not understand the science behind fitness. They don't get, if you do the same thing over and over, you're just maintaining your current physique. The body responds to new stress, not old stress. If you cannot afford a trainer, that is fine. There's a bunch of fitness gurus, programs online. They have 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 36 weeks. You can follow that. But it's always going to be something different. But there's a level of arrogance that we as people have to where we do not like to not be good at something.
Right.
Especially when it comes to exercise. And I use the analogy of the gym being a grocery store. And there's all these different, ingredients, different spices, different types of meat. If we were to enter a cooking competition, right? And they say, okay, I need you guys to make spaghetti. Mm-hmm. We're going in the same grocery store. But I've been to culinary school. I've been cooking since I was 7 years old, in addition to going to school. You have watched a few videos on YouTube. You've seen a few recipes online. And, your friends have tasted your food. You do pretty decent. But we're in a cooking competition. My food is going to taste different than yours. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that your food is going to be bad. It just means that mine is going to taste different. So with us having this specific goal, which is to win this competition, why would you then not seek help from a professional?
Right.
Why would you think that your YouTube video meal is going to compare to someone who is experienced, someone who has certification, someone who's gone to school for it? Mm-hmm. Doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. But yet and still, people choose what they choose, and they're on the path that they on.
I tell people often, either you can pay someone who has already done all the studying and research to know what you need to do, mm-hmm. or you can go in the gym blindly, do a whole lot of shit wrong, likely hurt yourself, waste a lot of time, and then go find somebody in 2 years to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Like, let you know what you've done wrong.
Absolutely.
Because you make mistakes. Like my chiropractor, I was being myself. I'm doing like bent over extensions for my lower back. Cool. Put a 45 plate on, pinched a nerve. Went to the chiropractor, he was like, what were you doing? I told him, he said, why the hell would you do that? I said, because that's what everybody does in the gym. and that was my excuse. Yeah. And it took someone who specializes in spinal activity to say, you don't need to do that. Like, right. Your body weight alone is enough. Anything else is extra stress.
Yeah.
Like, your lower back shouldn't be in pain when you come off of that machine.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, all the fitness people in the gym are like, if it don't hurt, it ain't working. Like, it's a misunderstanding of what should and should not happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So post that, no, you're not putting no weights on my chest. We're good. Like, I've never felt that kind of pain before and have no intentional.
Oh, wow. You really, you messed yourself up, huh?
You couldn't cough without being in pain. You couldn't sit up, don't laugh without being in pain. It wrapped from my back, like down my leg. It was horrible. I had to like roll out of bed. I couldn't sit up in bed to like get up. I was off of work for like 2 months. Like,
wow.
Just from just overworking out and doing something that I thought was going to enhance an exercise.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You either find someone who knows what they're doing, or you find out by making a mistake and doing it the hard way. Mm-hmm. And that was making the mistake. It was, you don't do this. And every time I see somebody do it, I'm like,
do you help them? Do you say something? Or you just kind of?
To people who I can tell are trying to learn what they're doing in the gym, like, you can tell people who really don't know what they're doing. Like, they're trying to just figure it out by just doing what they see other people doing. Those people, yes. The fitness people, you can't tell them nothing. Like you said, they know, and the arrogance is there, and it's like, I've been doing this for 13 years.
Oh,
Cool, got you. Good luck. Like, it's just, I say everyone that goes to the gym, when you start, most gyms have that complimentary training session.
they do.
Just for joining the gym. It's like, take it, figure some shit out. Like, yes, there's bodybuilder.com, but there's certain things that you're not going to do correctly. You're going to be in the wrong position. You're going to place your weight incorrectly. You're going to move something the wrong way. Like, there's too much potential of hurting yourself. Even if you do a trainer short term and then you work out on your own based on that plan for a little while, then you go back to a trainer later on down the line, something. Like, at some point you need to get some kind of education on what it is you're doing.
Yeah, I agree, 1000%. But like you said, people, they think they know. So
you learn the hard way.
You sometimes have to let people, fall on their butts a couple times, and then once they've learned, or they place these unrealistic expectations on how they think their bodies should look based on the amount of times that they've committed to the gym and the gym membership itself. And then once that's kind of like lapsed, then they circle back like, hey, it's been 6 months. I haven't seen anything change. Yeah, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. That's gonna be fun. We've watched you come in. So yeah, you're not gonna see anything change. But happy you're here. Sit down. Let's go back to school and understand how this works. So yeah, it happens. And I will say that's another another component to it as well, is this whole lifestyle change that we then have to begin conversations about, because you can have the exercise portion down, but if your nutrition is not up to par, or you're incorporating things that should not be there, or you don't really understand what your body needs to get this desired result, then you'll never see those abs. You'll never, reach your maximum potential, because there's that component that is being left out. So beginning to provide our bodies with nutrients just to sustain and for nourishment is something that we have to begin to do. Yeah. And I get that we like food in our community. Food is great, and we celebrate over it, and Thanksgiving cookouts, all that stuff. Memorial Day is coming, people gonna barbecue, and I get that. But understand that for every action there's a reaction, and if the goal is to get off medication, if the goal is to see abs, if the goal is to shrink inches, surrounding your midsection, then you have to hold yourself accountable for what you're putting into your body.
Yeah.
You can eat those things, but get the nutritional content so that when it's time to actually exercise and work out, you can burn what you put in. But it's easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, but it's not as challenging if you just alter small things.
Yeah.
Basically, like if you cook for yourself, you kill a lot of calories because you understand what you're doing. Sometimes, in a very small portion of people understand what they're doing. But it's like when you say, I'm gonna have a cheat day. That don't mean you have to eat everything in that day. And it's like, I'm ordering cheese steaks, chicken wings, pizza, ice cream, brownies, chips, popcorn, Doritos, donuts. And it's like, you just put a week worth of calories in your body in a day. And now it's like, I'm gonna go to the gym and get on the treadmill for 20 minutes and you think it's gone. That's 44 calories that you just lost. That's not gonna be enough. Like, that's the pickle. You got a whole lot more that you gotta work off. But we don't understand that. And that's where coaching comes in at. You don't understand the dynamics of what you're doing. And you hear people say things like, I'm gonna do fasted cardio. But then if you do fasted cardio and you leave there and you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you just put all those calories back in your body. So what you did means nothing anymore. And it's just understanding that. And again, that's where the education comes in at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you get into your training, what can someone expect training with you? What's the ultimate understanding? Like, is there like a intense, hard weight training, or is it like a high impact training? Is like, what kind of workouts do you specialize in? That's a challenging question. You guys be all over the place.
Okay. So everything that I do is backed by science. So a lot of my coaching and practices come from studies with understanding like the body and just how the body breaks down fats and builds muscle and things of that nature. So I try to give everybody a thorough understanding with their goals in mind of this is what's needed to get you from where you are to where you're trying to go. So in the beginning, for example, like let's say it is like I have a client right now. She is in her mid 40s. She turns 50 in about 5 years. Once she turns 50, she told me she wants to look into competing and doing bodybuilding. Right. So great. But where she currently is at, we cannot do Olympic lifting. We can't do athletic style training, which is what I love, because we have to understand the fundamentals of the body and, form and placing tensions on areas of the body that's not really necessary. She has her complete, the left side, she has injuries as far as her shoulder and her knee. So squatting properly, she's not gonna bring her hips down all the way, 90 degrees as you should in a correct squat. Her not momentum, but her range of motion is short. It's not great. So I'm not going to have her begin squatting on a Smith machine or using a bar, because we have to open up her hips. So we have to begin, stretching and doing things like fire hydrants and kickback, donkey kicks, things of that nature, just to begin to open her up so that we can progress. I found that some trainers will just, have you jump in and not really understand the science behind why you're doing what it is that you're doing. And that's not me, because I don't personally feel that someone should have a trainer for an extended amount of time, i.e. like 2, 3, 4 years, if they're not training for something, or they do not use their body for work, like athlete or something like that. If you're just an everyday person, your job is to speak with me, train with me for a duration of time, understand everything that I have to offer, so you have that prior knowledge, so that once we're done, you can then begin to train yourself. You can then begin to customize your own programs. And I've, done strictly, cardiovascular, clients, working with them. I've done powerlifting individuals. So everything is basically based on the person. But the common thing amongst everybody is going to be that they are going to understand the science, and there'll be a level of education that they'll receive from me. We focus a lot on the nutritional aspect of things. We focus a lot on understanding the ins and outs of, what is, fasted cardio. Understanding that, because we hear, just like we hear, veganism, we hear keto or ketosis, and we don't really understand what that means. We don't really get the science behind what's actually going on to my body. If you are going to do, fasted cardio, understand that there's going to be a deficit that happens. So while you're in that deficit, your body may respond in a way that you're not used to. You may have an extreme headache because we've stripped carbs completely, or a lot of carbs, from your regular diet. Carbs are not always a bad thing. So there's one client that I have now, this lady, she wants to get into Olympic lifting, and she had white rice with every single meal that she was eating. and her form before we began training was very bulky. She had a very box shape. So now we're getting into the process of actually carving out her body and presenting a more toned physique. But we, had a 12, from 12 to 8 was her window to eat, and she had a headache. And I really didn't understand, why, until I saw what she was eating before. So now, her window is a lot larger, but we like pushed it back. So she can have carbs, she can have white rice, but she can only have it at 10. Mm-hmm. That's it. And then we've moved to wild rice and brown rice that she can incorporate. But as she gets closer to the evening, you can't have any carbs because the body doesn't necessarily need it. And we need your body to begin to target the natural fat that you've consumed. So she was boxy because she wasn't burning enough.
Right.
She wasn't burning enough because she kept eating that white rice for every meal that she was consuming. It was helping her lift because she, was lifting heavy, but, you don't necessarily need that with what we're doing now. Now we're focusing on the amount of reps that you're doing. So she's understanding the science behind why we do what we do and how her body in particular is going to change versus myself or you or, anybody else in the gym, which is another component that, I have to have my clients understand. I can do something all day long. Doesn't mean that you're going to get the same result. It's going to vary. Your body may change immediately. It may take a little bit longer to, see those necessary changes, but you're always going to be better than you were when you initially started. So being able to see the forest from the trees is something that I have to emphasize over and over because of the times that we live in right now with this instant gratification, IG famous thing world.
And I think that's one of the big things about working out is that the pictures that you see of other people, you should not really aspire to try to get there because you're going to get let down. Like that's not like, one, it's about genetics. So your body may not even be structured to even do that. Absolutely. And if you have wide hips, you're going to have wide hips. You can't shrink down your hips.
Or
like it ain't gonna happen. If your shoulders don't sit like that, they're not gonna sit like that. If your abs are not directly across from each other, you can't move them. Like yours is gonna be a little different. And we look at those things and say, I want that body. I'm not willing to put in that work because we don't really know what that person does. And more than likely right now, they're holding their breath. They didn't have breakfast. Like
angry as hell.
It's so much stuff in that. And it's just like, I want to look like that. And it's like, that person don't even look like that.
Right.
Like that's a picture. Like don't aspire for that. Just fix your shit. Cool. What's your favorite body part to work out?
So because I ran track, I am biased here. So I love leg day. Leg day is my favorite day. I like working hamstrings, quads, glutes, like the whole thing. I hate calves. I hate working my calves, but everything else, I'm fine.
Why is that? Because that's actually interesting.
Why do I dislike working calves?
Yeah.
Because being sore there or catching a cramp in your calves is one of the worst feelings. And I think I'm traumatized from because I ran track, coming out of the blocks and being in that position for a certain amount of time. If you don't properly hydrate, which as a kid, kids don't drink water like they should. So being in the blocks for such a long duration of time and being stuck in that stance, your body can tend to like tense up. So I remember, one Saturday morning being in the stands, I caught a cramp, came out of the blocks, fell. on my face. So when I do hit calves and I am sore or I catch a cramp, it brings me back to that adolescent kid who was in the blocks and he fell face forward.
Face forward on your face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So it's not happening. You're not doing calves.
No.
It's a mental block. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're done, where ultimately do you want your fitness career to take you?
So I do not want to just limit myself with fitness because like I said, there's so many different components to living a healthy lifestyle. And I pride myself on speaking out about, not just mental health, but, also having conversations within like the Black community and all of those things that we can all begin to heal. In a perfect world, what I would like to do in the future is continue to, I guess, begin speaking out, speaking on panels, continuing these conversations in some capacity, whether they be digitally or in person. Because I feel as though if I can touch one person, then I've done my job here on earth. It's just that fitness has kind of been the entry point, the gateway for me to, have those conversations with people. But I would love to have, a gym if possible. I would love to, like I said, begin continuing to like speak out, doing more speaking engagements, possibly write a book. It's just all about sharing information with people in any capacity that I can, whether that be in person, or, like I said, digitally, podcasts, whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
I just want to share me with the world, because I feel like that's why I'm here. Everything that I've gone through, the purpose behind it was so that I can use my life so that the next Black man won't have to go through what I did, or won't feel such shame or some sort of like embarrassment for feeling like, well, dang, I'm the only one that's going through this. When in actuality, we all experience some level of mental health or mental illness throughout our lives. It's just some of us are not willing to acknowledge and speak out about it. And that is where the problem lies, because it is a normal thing. It's very normal. I think that we have to just start there. And with me having these conversations like how I'm having with you, I think somebody who is listening or watching this will be able to take that with them and then continue that conversation with someone that's in their life, so that we've done our job. Ultimately we've done our job today by sharing and educating, which is the most important thing.